Number 28 is going to be Marcus Mariota, the starting quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons. All right. And listen, I know a lot of people are going to go, wait, he didn't even play last year. He didn't do anything. How does he move up? All right, first off, I don't go on last year's ratings. I don't look at well, this guy was 35 this year. Let me get
so that's what I'll do. He was 36 last year.
Yep, okay.
And now he's 28.
Right.
And last year he threw 2 passes.
Yes. A lot of runs.
Completed 1.
Yeah.
4 yards. Yeah, he did have 87 rushing yards on the year. 1 rush TD, but he did very little in the regular season.
Yeah, no, he did. Again, I understand that. And again, this is where I'll lean on the card of hey, this is why I'm here a little bit, to try to sort some of these things out. It's not easy, all right? I know he didn't play. I get that. Let me just say this. Let's just go base level. First off, Marcus Mariota, he's big, right? He's big. He's a big man. He's 6'4". He's over 220 pounds. I don't think people realize that sometimes. He's a big human being. He can really run. There's no doubt about it. And he has a pretty damn good arm. And within that, has pretty good control of the arm. Now, where I would say, right there, everything I just said was advantage Marcus Mariota over Tua. Yes. All right, so I'm just trying to clarify my rankings here because I know where people are going to go with this. And I'm just going to go, do you think Marcus Mariota couldn't done the same thing in Miami last year? Thrown the ball, the least intended yards in the air, 4 yards here, 3 yards there. Do we not think he could have done that? Right? Okay, you're agreeing with me, even though you're being quiet.
I didn't know you were. I thought you were asking the homies.
No, I'm asking you too because you're a homie. I mean, you are a homie.
I am a homie.
Right.
I am a homie at heart.
But,
that's true.
So that's where let's just go from there. Now, just because he doesn't get the opportunity, or he's on a new team or whatever else, again, let's try to keep this a new evaluation of where they are. Marcus Mariota, you got to go back 2 years ago to see extended play. He played good against the Chargers. He did some good things there, certainly. You see how much they valued him with the Raiders. They loved him. There was teams that tried to trade for him, before the year and thought about all that type of stuff as well. He controls the football well. He does. Where he's different from Tua, so I said he had all these things that are better than Tua. Where he's not as good as Tua is he's not as dynamic of a thrower as far as the arm angles and doing stuff like that. Mariota's a little bit more robotic, right? I mean, think about Mariota. It's very deliberate, and it's kind of the same throwing motion time after time after time. So that's where you're going to lose a little bit of the Tua magic of being able to slide and throw a ball awkwardly and do that. Certainly not going to have that.
Robotic is a good way to sum it up, I think, because when you think about Marcus Mariota, when he was coming out of the draft, and what was he, the number 2 overall pick?
Right.
You were kind of thinking like this ultra-athletic guy because he did all the running at Oregon. And then you see him, and it's almost like he's trying to do the right thing, trying to follow the play. It's like there's not as much improvisation.
Yes, right.
And he's not just letting it fly. I don't know that I've ever seen a moment where Marcus Mariota has just been on the field and let it fly.
I think that's very real. I think that's why he lost his job to the Tennessee Titans, because they went, but damn, look at Tannehill. It wasn't that open that much, and he threw that post in there 40 yards down the field, where Mariota might have been like, it's a little tight. Let me just go run. Or let me look for the shallow crosser. Let alone Tannehill does have a little bit more ability to change the arm angles and stuff. And I think just a better natural feel to what you're talking about. You're right. Mariota, as great an athlete as he is, he's another guy that, I can even think back about when he was starting the Tennessee. You go, man, scramble, move around more. You're too athletic to just be sitting there, trying to be this robot that we're talking about. But, again, there's a reason he's a starter here in Atlanta. He did take a team to a playoffs. He's big. He is going to be able to run the football. He does have a pretty strong arm to throw the ball down the football field. And they're going to play a style of football where they're going to use his ability to run as a threat, help their running game, and they're going to run play action pass. And, they're going to expect him to 20-yard in cut over the middle, 15-yard in cut over the middle, 20-yard comeback on the outside. And they're going to make life simple on him that way, and I think he can do that. Again, some of the other showmanship stuff at quarterback, he's got to get better at.
I think it's interesting that it's Arthur Smith.
Right.
Is the guy that brings him back, gives him his next starting job, because he was there at Tennessee when they drafted him.
Right.
Number 2 overall in 2015. And then he was also there when Mike Vrabel made the decision to bench him. And in a lot of ways, I think that's why Arthur Smith has a head coaching job, with what he did with Tannehill after that, and the offense making it so dynamic, throwing the ball down the field, great running attack. So it's very strange. You got Arthur Smith here, probably would not be a head coach unless a decision was made to bench Marcus Mariota.
Yeah, no, you're right. Probably it probably gave him the boost he needed. And again, I don't think it's like Mariota. He wasn't benched because of like bad play. It just wasn't good enough. And sometimes that change of scenery, learning a few new tricks, changing a few things mechanically can really help. But I think there's still like skills and a man here that's worthy of getting another shot to be a starting quarterback. I don't think this is like a crazy thing here. There's a lot of like starting qualities about Marcus Mariota. Again, I think the big thing with him is going to be, does he take advantage of all that's there to be had with some of the throws and people that are open down the field? Can he be a little bit more, even though he's robotic, like, for a guy that was in the playoffs and all that, there were still too many throws that were missed at times where you just go, you're too good. You're too good of an athlete to miss some of these throws.
Right.
And then, again, maybe some of the backyard footballness he can improve on a little bit. But he's big, he's strong, he's smart, he's played some tough games, he's an athlete, and I'll be interested to see where it goes this year with him in Atlanta.
Tell me how you break these ties, just to kind of hammer this point home again. We probably should do this once a podcast. You got Mariota there, you got Tua, and you got Jared Goff. Do you sit down and you think, all right, I'm the GM of a team, I'm in a make or break year, I've got to get to the playoffs. Which of those three quarterbacks do I want on my team?
To a degree, I put through myself all those. And, my big baseline is just like, hey, we're all on the same team, and here's the offense. The offense is a little of everything, right? Yep. It's not just an offense that's based on Lamar Jackson or something like that.
Right.
The offense has got all just the basic essentials in the NFL, and where are we going to go from there? Again, if we made it like, oh, hey, we're going to make it Mariota, but we're going to make everything about him just so it looks good for him in Miami, well, then he'll look better than Tua, and then don't worry about it. It's gonna. So, but yes, that's where I try to go through it, and it was a tough one. These are close ones, certainly. And like, was there a point this weekend where I knew this was coming up, and I was, sometimes I'll switch where I went, Like I sat here and I went, man, should I have put Mariota in front of Tua? And then, I just come back to that thought basically of like,
sure.
All right, well, wait, when we put Mariota in Miami, do I think it would have been any different? Yeah.
You go, I'll ask Ahmed that question. I'm curious to see what he says.
Well,
and I didn't say anything.
You didn't. You just sat there. I think of that, but then I always go back to my base thing. One, they're all on the same team. Two, how I break it down with this a little bit. Physical ability is category number one. Decision making. And what you do there in the pocket, and then leadership and all of those. Those are the four categories I hit on. Leadership 3, in the pocket 4. And yeah, I think there's some qualities there that Mariota has that are a little better than Tua.
He'll be the starter.
Yeah,
we expect that for sure.
Yeah,
but he will have some competition throughout the year. Desmond Ridder was drafted by them out of Cincinnati, so he'll be the backup quarterback, we would expect. And so as we take a look at the schedule for the Falcons in 2022, a few months from now, do you think that's a tough start? Saints at Rams, at Seahawks, Browns, at Buccaneers, 49ers, at Bengals. Jeez. All right, so say it's rough on Mariota early on. Ridder, we expect to be pretty. I mean, he's played in college for how long?
Yeah. I just don't think he's on the level of Mariota yet.
You don't?
I don't. I really don't. Yeah, clearly I don't. But, I expect it to be a pretty long leash with Mariota.
So you would not expect Desmond Ridder to go there in practice, be lighting it up to the point where they'd be like, well, we got to give him a shot, see if it turns things around.
I don't think so. I would be surprised. And again, if we're sitting here at the end of August and that happens, I'm going to tell you I'm surprised and go, wow. I mean, things must have changed. I mean, Ridder must have really improved his throwing, because you heard me during the draft process. I mean, there's some real issues there. There's some real inconsistencies. His arm is not as strong as Mariota's. He's not as big of a human being as Mariota. Mariota's a thicker, bigger man. I've seen both of them. Mariota's also faster. I mean, he's definitely got better acceleration. Maybe top end is close because Ridder can open up and go. But no, I think this is one where we see Mariota for the most part of the year. Maybe, when we get to week 10 or 12, I think they had a late bye week there. All right, and then you go, all right, all's lost. Let's get the young guys some reps. I could see that, certainly. All right, so if it goes that way, maybe that's where we see Desmond Ridder. I don't think we're going to see like, man, we're shocked. The Falcons started off 1-2. No shit. I thought they were going to start off 0-3. There's 1-2. I don't think they're going to be like, oh, it's 1-2. It's a letdown. We got to bench Mariota and put Ridder in to save the year. We should have been better than 1-2. No. They're in a rebuild.
Hi, I'm Mike Tirico, and thanks for watching. Make sure to hit subscribe for the latest news and highlights from NBC Sports.